Hello, I'm Brian C. Mears, and this is Expressions of Light Language. Today in our chakra series, I'd like to be able to dive into the third eye. It's technically a new year as far as when I'm recording this. We're now in 2026. And I think after the last year that we had, of the year of the wood snake, where there was so much shedding so that we could grow, we're all kind of looking for something that we can see. What's coming at us? What are we interested in experiencing in this upcoming year? And at least for myself and for the patients that I see in my clinic, it's different than previous New Year's. It's different than New Year, New Me and the things that we've all done in the past. It's really digging deep and trying to figure out who the heck we happen to be. Who are we and how do we want to show up in this world? And part of that is opening the third eye so that we can see in a different light. Right? The third eye is based around the pineal gland, which is buried deep inside the head, about 50% of the way back, and then also making an equilateral triangle with the eyeballs on the outside. What's fascinating about this gland, which would be a dissertation all in itself, but for this point, it has cones and rods in it, which are teeny tiny little structures that allow us to be able to see light. Now, it makes sense that those are in our actual eyes, but to have something buried so deep inside of our mind that can see light when it's not exposed to the outside, I think is fascinating. If we go look up the third eye chakra, it says that it's great for connecting with intuition, spiritual wisdom, and well, spirituality in general. Just being able to see the light of the esoteric world. And it's a beautiful metaphor for us to be working with, especially as we're sitting here at the beginning of a new year in 2026, after coming through the year of the wood snake, where so much shedding and so much growth has happened for everybody that I've come across, and I hope the same is true for you. And here we are getting ready to go into the year of the fire horse. Still a little bit more to shed, still a little bit more growth that we need to do before we can finally get hooves on the ground and start taking off and moving in the direction that we want our life to go. And of course, movement requires direction. And to have direction, we need to have sight. And so working on the third eye chakra, working on connecting with our sight, both internally, who are we? How do we want to show up for ourselves, for those that we care about? It's a new year, new me type of a thing, but it feels different this year, at least to me and the patients that I work with on a regular basis. It's a complete shift. It's more of the question of, who am I? Not who society has told me I'm supposed to be, but who am I and what do I want to see show up in my world on a regular basis? I'm tired of the chaos. I'm tired of the talking heads on the talking boxes that are telling me how horrible the day happens to be. I want to see something different in my life. I want to experience something that's more uplifting to myself, to my family, to my friends, to the world at large, and also to the individual and the soul's experience of just having a body and navigating around in this 3D world. So we're focused on light. And how do you want to bring that into your world? How does that show up in the space that you want to embrace as you're moving forward? This is a curious chakra. A lot of people focus on opening their third eye. And in my own experience, the third eye refuses to open unless the heart chakra happens to be open first. Because the vision is coming from the heart and illuminating up through the third eye. And that's really the translation of what those little cones and rods inside of the pineal gland is able to communicate with. It's not going inside the brain, it's going down to the heart center. It's like how the heart sees the world. Well, that makes sense with it being intuition, with it being our inner wisdom, and also our spiritual insights as we're trying to move through the world in a way that's not only teaching us the lessons that we are here to learn, but also guiding us into a path that's more illuminated and more filled with joy, compassion, patience, grace, forgiveness, love, right? Even authenticity. Who do I see myself as, and how do I show that best and brightest to the world? I'm doing my best with this series, and I hope that you're doing the same within your own life and all the light language channeling that's come in. So we've built ourselves a foundation while we're working on the physical structure with the root and the sacral. How do we think as far as the mind's operating, as far as the solar plexus? How does the heart and the feel piece of that? And what do we actually say as we speak? And now we're into the I see. What do you want to see as part of the world that you live within? If we listen to the talking heads on the idiot box and the nightly news that says, good evening, here's why today sucks, we'll always be looking for why the day sucks. What if we look for why the day is beautiful? why the day is uplifting. And yes, sure, we may get a flat tire, we may have some challenges somewhere along the way. It doesn't mean it's a bad day. It's the perspective that defines the reality that we live within. Quantum physics has shown this time and time again. Right? Something is never positive or negative. It is up to the observer that determines what their perception of the event happens to be. Yes, we can have chaos, and yes, we can look at it that it's horrible. We've got loss of human life. There's way too much of that going on our planet. And it's also an opportunity for us to wake up and to look for the helpers, the people that are trying to do the rescue amidst the chaos. Right? How do we show up for ourselves to be able to rescue ourselves from our own chaos? To be able to set down the stories that have caused so much pain and suffering for us over years or decades of our life based on something that may not have happened in the way that we thought that it did. The perception defining the reality that's created the blockage between us and the things that we want to achieve. So this is about opening the third eye so we can see things differently. Not just for the spiritual insight and the wisdom, but also what do we have inside? Who are you? How do you want to show up? Right? How do you want to connect to that sacred space you hold inside of your chest so that you're able to illuminate that brilliantly and be able to show up in a way that you've never shown up before? This is a year about challenge, it's about growth, and it's about heading right to that horizon, not running from our past, but saying, I don't need this anymore. These stories are holding me down. That's why we came through the wood snake. Snakes grow. And when they grow, they lose their skin. Wood in Chinese medicine is the element of growth. It's associated with a spring. So it's the snake that was growing, and it had to shed everything that no longer serves a purpose. And I can only imagine for a snake that it's incredibly raw and vulnerable and very uncomfortable to lose all the skin all at once. But as those last levels are peeling off of us, we're able to finally get some traction. We get the hooves on the ground and start heading to the horizon to be able to grab on to the reality and the experiences that we want to live with for the rest of our lives, or at least for this phase of our life. Let's shift, let's change, let's grow, let's change the way that we see ourselves and the world at large. That's all that I have. The light language is coming. My hands are shaking. So let's do some breathing. As always, we're going to start with the puff method. We're going to breathe in with a puff, hold. Breathe out with a puff, hold. Breathe in with a puff, hand on the heart, other hand, thumb on the navel, hand gently resting on the lower abdomen. Breathe out with a puff and hold. Last one, we breathe in with a puff and hold. Keep breathing in this cycle as we channel the light language. Feel things open within your system. Feel your body be able to resonate with the light language as the third eye opens gently to be able to see the world through a new lens. Simu sarakate sena haisera mokotai, te taike tsura mokotai ratamoho saratara moro kaiteri tiria takamoto. Takamoto sarate shiritikera katamorokatai tikiri, ramokotoka satake sakatakamoho tokoteri sarakatamaikete. The channel is grounding us first. Turn your focus to your feet. The connections on the soles of your feet are the eyes that see the world. Mohoto kasiri shirakata haiteri na romokotai romokotai sarakate sarakata moterera rmo sarakite kara opening a heart kamare karikara mohote ke sarakite kara mokota karikara kara mokotai karakata ko mohoto ko surate sharada romorokotai de romohoto rakada sanata kate mokotai te taiti de kata komoko to say ka chini ka homokota kate Kamarakata soroko saratation atara moho tara morokoto saratation atara motai dera tanamata kaite. The kaite kerakata moho to kate serakata mohota shinira mohota karamokotai kitty kitamo I did it day. Kamarakata Ramakoto, Kusiriki, Sirika Kamahoto, Kutiki, Rakataka, Takarakatakoto, Katis, Dikataka Ramaroko, Sikiti, Shikatakari, Kikaraka, Romakoto. Mokoto Rosakiti, Morokota, Senator Morokatari, Romorokota, Senator Shomotaka, Katara, and getting a Kamoto Trite. This is opening the crown chakra just a bit. Karamokote Serakatamahota Rakatiki, Karamorokota, Senataramokota, Rakatation, Ataramorokatai, Remorokatai, Sheridigaramoto, Kamarakatako as we breathe in with a puff and a hold. This is breathing in the heavens and the earth so that it makes the vessel that you stand within. Breathe out, puff, hold. Breathe in, puff. Shomoroko serakete shina katamo katara morokata sereteramo hoto katarataramo kataramo kotaiseretaramo takaitere tikaiteke. Tiraiteramo hoto roko sorakata senetaramo hota ichiri no moroko to kortakere karagashina kadamo kotaite. Kataiterako hoto kasarakaramo kotaiserekate mo kotaisereti shini kirirakatamo kototo. Mokoto sarata senina shinataramo hoto kaishiri kishina katamo hotaka. Adjust your posture. Create alignment. Mukotoko sitishin atramoko diri moroko tarakatera rakatekera moroko taiserete. Sataisere toromohoto katarera karagana karamohoto kaitekiri kereka sugromo katekerike chikrikamo kuchkrikamo kutakite. Kai Marakatoko Sorako Moroko Siri, Shini Karagara Moroko Tichinini, Haji Homo to Rongo Tiri, Mogarakatene, Sinedinata. Sedis in the Romorokoto Sorokota Saratara Sonamhotara, Terira Kara Romokoto Sarata Shinantango Mota Date. The Dite Ramarato Gomoho Sarata Shinete Ramatata. Kaimarakoto Sarata, gently tap your forehead. Karamokotoko Satakesha Kataka, other hand on the heart. Karamarakata Saratakeshin, we're strengthening the connection. Kamarakata Morokoto Sarakari, Morokoto Sarakari, Shinikari, Morokoto Kaderi, Morokuti, Shinakari, Mokotoka, Shirikatika Motoko. Removing the veil. Kamarakata Moroko Satikeshin, Mahata. The mohoto kosa taka serikeri shinikata mohota karakataka mohoto kasatike shitikita mata. It's not needed anymore. Kamarakata shinite karamokoto. We're allowed to see again. Kamarakato romokoto ko satike shikitikeri karakiri karakara morokoto sarakari mokota serikiri shinakata mokoto karakiri. Kamara katakara komoho to karakiri kiri karamara kiri katakara komoho to kasiri kiri karakiri moko to kasiri diri maroko to kaishiki rakatakari moko to kotokiti kaiti kaito to kaiti taka. Tikaiti ramoko to kusara taramoro kataisara tina mohoto tata tata romoro kotara saratira shamoho to go to kaikadi amush at kichine katamohoto. Mohoto katara kasere tiramoro katara mohota shinite rata kamohota. Taramoko toko sete shanakata moko tainine kitine moko tarakata satakete shinakata mohota kate dida katamoko tatidida maroko tamato katakomoko taisarike shanata. Shanata, karamoroko to soro. Shishina to komoto kate ramota terekade karikiri katikamoko to kaisarike kitiki tikitikatikatumoho to kaitikiti tikiti karamokota. Mukota sitikesha taka. Take a deep breath. A puff. Hold. Breathe out. With a puff. Hold. Feel the effervescence. Breathe in. With a puff. Hold. Breathe out. With a puff. Hold. Breathe in. Puff. Hold. Breathe out. Puff. Hold. Thank you, my friends, for joining me. If your vision is a little bit sparkly, that's okay. As the third eye waking up, it's starting to see the energetic fields that are around you. If you need to ground yourself so you can drive your car, so you can be at work, so you can operate a computer, do something physical with your hands. Ground yourself back in your body. The energetic vision will show up again. but allow yourself to be in the physical when we have to deal with a 3D world. And when we're able to experience the spiritual insight and be able to experience the energetic world that surrounds us in such rich beauty, allow yourself to shift your vision, soften the eyes just a little bit, and start looking at the vibrations that come off of everything, particularly living creatures. Drink plenty of water, go ground yourself, be gentle and loving as you step bravely into this new year, and focus on what you want to see and what you want to experience as you move forward. As always, thank you for joining me today. Until next time, my friends, be well. Shike shikaramokotoko take shinakatamohote sakatamohot sadete salamata sanata.